All right, and hello, welcome back, fellow summoners. We are back again this month for a new update to the offensive or mega offense and defense tier list. And I have a special guest with us today. We have DaRichMan, not to be confused with Rich Dumman. He is from our Bolt Alliance. You want to go ahead and say hello to everyone?
Definitely, and yeah, I'm not a super cool YouTuber, so breathe that out of the picture right now. But yes, I'm a Alliance War offense and defense strategist, so I help kind of assemble the team and get us in the best position for Alliance War.
Sounds great. So we're gonna go ahead and we'll just get started off right away, so that way this video doesn't end up too long. But so starting with the first agenda on the list here is the Juggernaut buff that just recently came up. So he has he does come with a little bit of a downside this with this buff. He has this gem of what do you say? How do you say it? Sidorak?
Sidorak.
Yeah, Sidorak. It basically gives him a very nice boost in attack rating. He'll take 25% less damage from all attacks. He's immune to reverse control. However, if he loses this, he loses all those benefits and gets a passive weakness on him. You have anything to kind of add on him, on your thoughts about him?
Yeah, I mean, compared to what he was before, it's definitely a huge boost to his character and his abilities, but he has an extreme weakness in where that gem can be removed very easily with a non-damaging debuff. So if you just stun him, he's pretty weak. I'd say if we're looking at it from kind of like a offense versus defense, there's more in his kit now for offense than for defensive purposes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, all those unstoppable buffs that he can gain. So I mean, you don't want to try to intercept him, but yeah, I think he'll gain like a max of 10 of them. After that, he can, once you activate his special attack, he'll go, I believe, unblockable for a bit, increasing a bunch of damage along with that too. I think with each unstoppable buff he gets, he also has a 25% less chance to be stunned. So when you get up to champs like, let's see here, like Ronin, when he nullifies all those buffs, he's just not going to stun you. Or when you have all those, I should say, he's not going to stun you. So which is, you can't really cheese him in that aspect.
Right, and it provides a nice little safety net, especially for some annoying nodes like encroaching stun and even just weird attacker AIs,
Oh, yeah.
I know I've run into to punish something before and gotten parried somehow. So
yeah, and that's fantastic. I didn't even think about that node. Yeah, that one, I hate that one for sure. That timer always ends at the worst times.
Yeah, it's definitely much better for attack now, and it's so easy to get those unstoppable buffs as well. All you gotta do is keep dashing forward, dashing back. So very easy to play, but has some extreme weaknesses that you gotta watch out for.
Yep, I agree. Along with that, his specials, I think his SP1 gives him an Energize buff. SP2, he'll get a massive Fury buffs if he's got his full 10 stacks of Unstoppable. And the SP3 will also lock his gem in place so he can't get it knocked off. And then if he has his full charges too, he'll stun the opponent for 4 seconds. His Sig ability looks like it gives him a chance to nullify buffs, which is okay. It's not needed. You can actually place pretty easy staggers on the opponent with heavy attacks. So, but
yeah, I would say the awakened ability is really only needed as kind of a safety net for when you lose the gem, because it reduces the strength of the weakness that you receive, but you really got to invest the signature levels in him. So one of those characters where you gotta go all the way. It's all or nothing.
Yeah, I agree. So he was originally F on our list. He was bumped up to C for right now. He probably could go up a little bit higher, but like I said, I mean, if he loses that gem, he's kind of a limp noodle just until you activate a special attack and get that gem back. So we got him there for right now. On the defense side, it actually didn't change him at all. Currently, he was a C. He's going to stay there for right now. He might actually go down a bit once we get a little bit more defensive information on him. But like you said, I mean, he doesn't start off with the unstoppable anymore, and just knocking him down, makes him so much more easier. So, but on to the next one. Let's go ahead and bring up King Groot. So he's been on our list before as I think it's rank C. Yeah, he's rank C, and we bumped him up to an A. Now I know your other counterpart here, Rich the Man. He's a huge fan of King Groot, and I actually I was looking into a couple videos on him, and yeah, I think he greatly deserves that A rank. Any thoughts on him, or?
Absolutely. I mean, I see the appeal. I sadly don't have a King Groot that I can play with, but he's just an all-around great character. He's got great immunities, shrugs debuffs, has one of the best regenerations in the game. So if you're running suicide masteries, it's extremely sustainable, and you can get through a lot of content.
Yeah, and let's see. I mean, he's got all those. He's immune to power drain, power bird, bleed, obviously. Yeah, those fury buffs can purify debuffs that happen to be on him at the time. I think his heavy attack pauses those poisons too, if I recall. And but yeah, I mean, in longer fights, he is fantastic. He actually gets stronger as the fights go on. So yeah, I've seen quite a few interesting little videos on him. I think he definitely deserves that A rank at the moment.
And in War, we have been using him for some pesky robot fights. People like Warlock or Omega Sentinel. He does triple damage on special attacks and can armor break very easily. So great uses all around.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what your thought is on this. I believe it's best to have him awakened, only because of it doesn't really do too much for his, I guess, damage. I think it increases the potency of the poison a little bit, but it's really helpful for those regeneration buffs during his Malice cooldown. I don't think it's necessarily needed, but it's very nice to have.
No, I would agree. Yeah, it's not mandatory, but definitely you see a difference.
Yeah, I think so too. So he was bumped up to an A on our list. On the defensive side, he's just going to kind of stay where he is. He's fine where he's at. He's not the worst defender to deal with, but having him kind of nullify those, debuffs, whether it be a stun or whatnot, can be a little annoying. So he's currently on the C end of the defensive list, so he'll probably stay there for right now. Let's see. Next we have Rintra. So he was brought up recently by our own Mikey Montage, who is the owner and runs pretty much all of Omega here. And he brought up some pretty good points on him getting bumped up. So right now he was let's see, where was he? I think he was at C. No, he was at B rank before. And he's currently getting bumped up to A. I actually have a 6-star Rintra. I haven't played around with him much, but he showed me a couple videos that, my God, that he can get some pretty decent damage here.
Yeah, I don't have Rintra, but we definitely see him a lot in War on attack, just because neutralize is just such a great part of his kit, and especially like you don't have to have the skill to learn Tigra to have that neutralize. You can just knock him down with Rintra in 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I think he's also got 30% energy resistance and 20% crit resistance, which is even great. And he's like one of those weird champs. He gets stronger the more armor break that are actually applied to him too, which is interesting. I think there's a couple nodes. I forget which ones. That I think it applies like armor breaks you over time or something like that. So that one's got to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, another example of that is DaRichMan on the Mystic class. So it's strange because I know a lot of armor breakers are cosmic. You wouldn't normally fight a Mystic with a cosmic, but you never know. Something can always come up.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think when he's awakened, his neutralize debuff kind of, if it like gets rid of anything, it gives him a power gain buff for a little bit there, which once again, nice to have. I don't think it's necessary for his kit, but yeah, it's definitely nice to have. I don't think it's necessary though.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, he's not reliant on his awakened ability. He's not reliant on specials either. Like, yes, he does some amazing special damage, but he can knock out a defender just as easily with basic attacks.
Yeah. All right, awesome. So yeah, it's he's going to be going to the A rank. On the defensive side, he was already at A rank. He'll be kind of staying there. He's pretty annoying with his root ability. There's a lot of kind of a new mechanic that seems to be tripping up a few people still, just because it is so new. So he'll kind of stay there for the A side, unless you have other opinions on that.
No, I think he's definitely a new character that people are still trying to learn. So on the right, a W node, or even with the upcoming Battlegrounds update, he could be very annoying to go against.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, and then let's move on to our last two champs here, the new ones. We have Gorr the God Butcher and Valkyrie. We'll start off with Gorr here. So he is currently getting added to the list as a B rank for right now. You have any thoughts on him at the moment, or?
He's just a weird character for me, I'll be honest. I know he doesn't benefit from willpower, which can be both a benefit and a weakness for him. But also he applies so many debuffs and has so many buffs. Like, he can just be used in so many different ways.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah, he's a god of applying debuffs, that's for sure.
yes. But I really love his animations. I think that's one thing that, if I don't have him again, but if I did have him, I would rank him up just to watch kind of what his character does on the screen. So
oh yeah,
the team did really well with that.
Yeah, unfortunately I don't have him either, but yeah, I wouldn't mind getting him for sure. Yeah, his animations, I gotta say, Kabam does an amazing job on a lot of these champs with their animations and what they do, so definitely kudos to them. But yeah, he kind of does a lot of damage with his debuffs, like you said. He can get a lot of them. He uses these shadow magic buffs where he can go ahead and apply poison, shock, bleed. If any of the champs happen to be immune to one of those, he applies degeneration instead. And with the right rotation, yeah, he deals a lot of damage and can. But he one of the things that he seems to suffer a little bit on is with his buffs. The time on them don't really last as long as they probably could be. You can fix it with some synergies, but I always hate champs that kind of require those, like, you got to bring someone else in order to be fantastic,
Yeah. Yeah, and especially with the game kind of moving more towards that part where you can only bring 3 people, you can only bring specific characters. It's very limiting for characters like Gorr, who rely heavily on synergies or boosts outside of his kit.
Right. But even outside of that, if you're aggressive enough and everything else, like, he deals some pretty decent damage, as long as you keep up on it. I mean, yeah, I still think he's a pretty decent champ. Maybe a little bit of skill needed for, just knowing the right rotations. But, yeah, I think, like I said, he's added to as a B. So I think that's pretty well deserved there. On the A side, he was added as, or I'm sorry, on the defense side, he was added as an A. Now I didn't get too much to look into this. I know this was just kind of going based off of the votes that we had our team going by. Do you have any info on this? I don't think I've ever fought him in war yet.
Yeah, I haven't seen him very much more. I'm curious how he would kind of work with some of the nodes and characters. I know people like Doom, if you have a shock on the opponent, he can passively stun you, and Gorr applies shocks to himself. I haven't tested that out to see if that's like a weakness for him. But one thing that we did notice is that with the Path 9, and you get the like incinerate and poison and shock and bleed debuffs when you hit the opponent. Gorr does not interact with that, so you won't get any bonus damage from having those debuffs on you. It's only coming from Gorr's debuffs. So
that's interesting.
Right. So that's just something to be aware of if people do decide to put him on defense. He's not going to gain a benefit from that. There are some nodes like Sadist where the more debuffs you have on the defender, the harder they're going to hit. That could be an opportunity to kind of boost Gorr's damage and get a surprise kill on defense. And then Gorr's animations can be kind of hard to dex, especially because they're so flashy, and kind of you have to pay attention to his movements when he swipes his sword, when he dashes. It's a lot to pay attention to.
Yeah.
It's not that he's like a great defender like Doom that has a ton of damage or has very tricky stuff to watch out for. It's more just catching the attacker off guard, which can sometimes work.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and with him being a new champ, not a lot of people fighting him yet. So yeah, just kind of getting used to him. So, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. Maybe he'll surprise us with a few more other things. So. And then we finally got our last champ on the list, Valkyrie. She was added to the list as a B rank, also. So, have you had a chance to play with her at all? Have you heard anything?
I have not gotten a chance to play with her. I have watched a bunch of videos. Just kind of seeing how she works. We haven't run into her for Alliance War yet, but I definitely think she would make a fantastic attacker. Of course, she gets those pierce buffs where she can hit really hard into the block, and that's useful to kind of avoid specials. You can deal damage without giving the enemy power. But she does require a lot of skill, so you have to understand kind of her combo meter, increasing it, decreasing it to get the benefits from both of those. I'd say she's certainly useful. She's currently worth a rank up, but you have to invest the time and energy into learning her and understanding her kit.
Yeah, and that's what I was kind of getting from her too. It definitely takes a lot of skill in order to kind of get her going, but once you do, I've seen once again some pretty decent damage out of her. So I think she's pretty decent where she's at right now as a B rank. Maybe she'll find a little bit more use a little bit later on, but I think that's pretty decent place for her right now. I believe on the defensive side we put her as I'd have to double check here. I think she was just a B or C. Actually, no, it was actually lower than that. I think it was a D. Yeah, she was added as a D at the moment. Yeah, sorry about that. I know when we were fighting her in the quest line, I didn't have too many issues with her, so I think that was a lot of where that came from too. And if you got a whole bunch of buffs on this champ and they're still not that hard, I can't imagine them being that horrible in war either.
No, I mean she definitely doesn't have too much that is challenging for defense. Her specials are very easy to evade. There's a lot of mutants that get around her abilities, so I think she's not too hard to fight, but she's worth the investment for fighting with.
Yeah, yeah, definitely think so too. I would 100% agree with that. But yeah, that's all the champs that we have for this month, this month's update. So, thank you again, DaRichMan, for coming on and helping me with this list here and talking about some of these champs. I do appreciate it.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. And a bit of news. We're going to be changing the way the champs on the tier list works. So we are now giving the power to you, the viewer, to discuss and vote on where these champs should be placed in the tier list. How do you do that, you ask? It's simple. You join us at our Omega Community Discord channel, follow the link here in the tier list, or click the link in the description of the video. Once you join the lobby, let the person that greets you know that you are here to support and help the Omega tier list, and that your buddy Lightvein here sent you. We will then get you up to set up with the correct roles. You can then participate in the Omega tier list channel and let your voice be heard. Finally, be sure to like the video and subscribe so you can get notifications when a new video launches. I got some interesting stuff coming up this month, and we still need to hit the 500 limit mark for the CCP access. Link to the updated tier list is also in the description. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and you have a great rest of your day.